Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a Muslim exorcist here. Today I'm just going to give a brief introduction about the conjuration of jinn used by some exorcists. Why do they do it? Um, just a disclaimer, not all Muslims who perform exorcism conjure jinn. They are because there are certain styles, certain methodologies that are linked to certain understanding of the Quran and understanding of the Hadith and certain ideologies, and everyone has their own methodology. Now, why would an exorcist need to summon a jinn? First of all, what are they summoning and why are they summoning? The a Muslim exorcist might summon a powerful jinn who's a Muslim, who's a practicing Muslim, and who is attached to either the names of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or is attached to a verse of the Quran, or is attached to a surah of the Quran, which is a chapter, or it is attached to the whole Quran itself. Now, the reason why mukkals are used is because, from the perspective of that ideology, of that school, the, the reason being is these Muslim jinns, pious jinns, very strong, who are out stronger than an average jinn, who have dedicated their lives in the service of God, who've embodied that particular recitation that they're associated with. They would call upon that to basically aid them. Why would they need to aid them? Sometimes when a person is possessed and you have tried everything and they are in a dangerous position. What I mean in a dangerous position, when there's a threat to its life. For example, there is a demonic jinn that's lodged into the heart of a person. And if you were to take it out by recitation or pulling it out by reading certain things, it would effectively stop the person's heart. Or if it's sitting in the lungs, or if it comes up in your istikhara, your spiritual, you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, your spiritual, you're connecting yourself with God, and you get an inspiration, and that's telling you to use a muakkal, then you would use that muakkal. Now, that muakkal, that pious Muslim jinn, who is way, way more powerful than a normal jinn because of its recitations and the amount of energy it's absorbed and its connection with angels, it can easily go in and take the thing out without no problem. And they are very, very strong in dealing with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of normal jinn. When I say normal jinn, residential jinns or jinns that are sent by black magician jinns that usually use their minions, or even fighting black magician jinns themselves, because they have trained with the names of God and have embodied that power. So a Muslim exorcist would use their ability. We don't worship them, we don't glorify them, we don't praise them. Yeah, if they do a good job, may Allah reward you, may Allah bless you. Now, I asked a Muakkal once, I say, well, what's in it for you? Okay, we are here to, you know, help a person, and we use you in a sense as a tool. So why do you come? He said, well, first of all, it's a duty from Allah. We are sent to, we have specific roles to do, and it's a duty to Allah to help people who are suffering. So we would come, and if you recite the name of God, we'd turn up and we'd help. Secondly, we want to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, and we do that by serving mankind. Now, there are two ideologies in calling summoning muakkals. The first ideology is that you would recite certain names of God or certain verses of the Quran or certain surahs of the Quran, chapters of the Quran, for an, for the purpose of calling them, for the purpose of calling that entity. And then when it comes, you would then negotiate with it, uh, how the rules, what are the rules, what are the parameters, what do you want in return, what I want in return. So the first school is actually dealing with, is actually actively calling them. And I do not belong to that school. The second school is that you do not you just focus, you develop yourself spiritually, because man is more spiritual than jinns. I know they are very stronger in terms of physical strength, but in spiritual strength we are more stronger. It's just that we don't know the value of spirituality. We don't know how to gain this spirituality. We don't know where to look or what to do. Once you know your reality as a man, when I say man, mankind, men and women, it's not sexist at all. Once you know the reality of how strong you can be, then you you would understand that these things, they have their uses, but your strength is above these. So the second school is that, the second ideology, the school of summoning, or is that we really don't summon them at all. We develop our relationship by God by doing excessive readings. Now, the difference between the first school and the second school is that when you recite excessively for the pleasure of God, and I'm not saying the first school does not do that, they do it for the pleasure of, they recite for the pleasure of God with the intention of getting a particular muakkal or a pious jinn to serve humanity. Our school is completely different in the sense that we totally believe that if you just focus on reading, getting close to Him, Allah, God will send you Himself these things. And these things will come, and you don't need to do anything. They're automatically given the duty to help you. While in the first school, there was a lot of negotiation, and that is a more of a subjugation. While in the second school, this type is more of a friendship. Now, I'm not dissing anyone, I'm not looking down. It's just my understanding. I could be wrong, but both have their uses. Now, the thing about the school that I follow, yes, we use morals, but we don't rely on them fully. Because at the end of the day, whether pious jinn, non-pious jinn, Muslim jinn, non-Muslim jinn, they are creatures, and creatures have free will, and they can always mess you up. So yes, we use them here and then, but we don't rely on them fully. What we rely is on pure spirituality, the power of the names of God, the power of the verses of God, and the power of the scripture of the Quran. It's just developing that and unlocking with that spirituality within yourself. Now, this is just a brief introduction. There's loads of introductions I'm going to do, videos, because there are a lot of people who are messaging me, oh, tell me how to summon jinn. Well, you don't know the reality of a jinn, okay? You don't know, first of all, why are you summoning this thing? What do you think? This is not from, what do you call it? How they say, what's that word? Fiction, no, pop culture. It's not something that will, like from Disney, that will hand up and say, oh, my master, command me. These are things. Now, these things are, you've got to realize, individuals. Some are some are good, but even if they're classed as good, they can be, maleficent. They can be evil. They can, betray you. They can mess you up. And I have seen cases, and I've dealt with cases that people have dwelt in this side, and not only that, their family have suffered, themselves have suffered. It's not a joke. To summon a thing like this, you're bringing it into subjugation. And even if you would class them as friends, and no, they are my friends, you need to understand the psychology of the way how they think, not how you think. You think, oh no, he's my, I've summoned him. We're all pally, we're friends. In the back of his mind, if he were to come after ritual, he's like, I'm getting out of this. I need to get out of this. I need to put tricks, and he will trick you during the contract phase. And there are loads of people. So this was just a brief introduction, just to tell you that there are two really thinking ideologies in this sort of practice of conjuration of mortals or Muslim jinns. The first one is where you actually uh, conjure, you perform certain rituals using only the names of God or verses of the Quran or chapters of the Quran or even prayers of some saints, holy saints, with the intention of, excuse me, with the intention of subjugating. And the second school is not really calling, it's not calling upon them, nor is the subjugation. It's building your connection with God, and they will come automatically. They have to come. And I'll explain why they have to come. Is because they are given duties, they are given tasks from Almighty. There's a spiritual system in place in the hierarchy of jinns with the connection with angels. So this was just a very, 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 very brief introduction. I'm going to go into in future videos, okay, how they do it, but I'm going to leave out certain things so people can't think, oh, I'm going to copy this and try it, because it's going to cause a lot of pain. This is just for information purposes, so you know. And one might argue, well, what's the point? You're giving us this information if we, if we can't do anything. It's just that with this information, you'll be able to know what is fact and what is fiction in regards to summoning from the Islamic perspective. This is the reason so that knowledge stays. And as a practitioner, I'm very, very frustrated with the amount of people that have loads of misconceptions that jinns are going to make me rich. They're going to give me advice on the stock market. They're going to give me advice on crypto. They are going to come and help me. Do you know that no matter how, first of all, jinns have free will. They can either mess you up, they can help you. Even when they're helping you, the way they think, sometimes it's counterproductive. They may claim they may have a concept of love, but their love may be abusive. Like people who are in abusive relationships, the person causing the abuse actually thinks they love the person. They're not abusing them, but that love is causing abuse. And you need to know the tricks when you're in this situation, or if you're foolishly summoned, or if you are going to summon, you need to know how they think, how they operate, so that you have a proper understanding. A friend of mine said to me, he said it in a crude way, a non-Muslim friend of mine. He said, "Well, your role is kind of like a sex ed teacher, where you're preaching about abstinence, but at the same time, you're giving people information about how to do it safely. So I'm going to give you advice on concepts of things that you need to keep in mind. And if you are trapped, how can you get out of them?" And again, it's going to be a long series. I'm going to go into deep. I don't claim I know everything. I do not. I'm still learning, but I have learned for 4 or 5 years, and I have been practically active in this field, and I'm constantly learning. I don't know everything. I don't represent every single Muslim exorcist that are there. Are various schools, ways of thinking, various operators, operating methodologies. So I don't claim any of that. All I'm going to do is give you advice on how things happen, why they happen, what you should look out for, and it's up to you with what you perceive with. So look forward to speak with the next video, guys. Let me know, comment what you think about this video, and masalama.